Hi girls. So now that you have looked into matrices and that you know a little bit more about them, I'm going to show how they can be used in sport. Okay, and probably the easiest way to explain how they could be used in sport is to think of a situation. Okay, so here is the situation. Coach Kelly is picking a netball team. Okay, and he's got three girls who he is considering to play wing attack. Now, he doesn't know which one is the best, Sarah, Louise, or Mary, and they're all pretty good. Okay, and he has to come up with some way of being fair to Sarah, Louise, and Mary, so that he can pick the best player for the team, but also so he can give them some feedback and say, this is what you need to improve on, Sarah, this is what you need to improve on, Louise and Mary, and they can be happy that they can improve, and he can be happy that he's picked the best girl. So to play wing attack, Coach Kelly decides that there are three ingredients that are really, really important. They are passing, speed, and shooting. Okay, and out of these three key areas, one or two are more important than the other. So he gives them a weighting out of 10, with 10 being the most important. So in this case, you can see that Coach Kelly has decided that shooting is the most important part of being a wing attack. Passing is the second most important, and speed is not that important, but it doesn't want someone who's really slow either, although he only has a weighting of 3 here, whereas he has a weighting of 10 for shooting. So what that tells you is that if someone is an incredible shooter but they're really slow, he'll probably still pick them. Okay, but they still need to be good enough at passing. Now what he's going to do is he's going to apply a matrices to which is very objective, which has lots of numbers, to his own subjective opinion about these three girls. Okay, so they play away and they do their tests and their training and everything, and Sarah, Louise, and Mary come up with these scores out of 10. So Sarah's scores for passing, speed, and shooting are the following. She scores 7 out of 10 for passing, 4 out of 10 for speed, and 6 out of 10 for shooting. There's Louise's scores, 6, 8, and 6, and here's Mary's scores, 8, 1, and 9. Okay, so you can see they've got different strengths and different weaknesses in different areas. So it's hard to decide, well, who gives me the best all-round option. Okay, well, what we can do is we can put them into a matrix like this, with the girls' performances here and then the weighting over here. Okay, so what we have is passing, speed, and shooting. This is the performance criteria and the names of the girls here. So Sarah's scores, as you can see, are 7, 4, and 6. Louise's scores are 6, 8, and 6, and Mary's scores are 8, 1, and 9. So Sarah scored 7 on passing, she scored 4 on speed, Mary scored 8 on passing, and she scored 9 on shooting. And we're going to multiply this matrix by this matrix. Okay, now I've got it on the next page over here. So this is how we do it. We multiply the row by the column. Okay, now this is pretty easy to do because we only have one column here. So we'll multiply 7 by 5, 4 by 3, and 6 by 10 to get Sarah's scores. So 5 by 7, 3 by 4, and 6 by 10. And there's Sarah's scores. We do the same for Louise. So now we go 6 by 5, 8 by 3, and 6 by 10. So 6 by 5, 8 by 3, and 6 by 10. And then we go 8 by 5, 1 by 3, and 9 by 10 to get Mary's scores. So 8 by 5, 1 by 3, and 9 by 10. And that gives us this matrix here. Okay, and these are the final scores for the girls in these three key areas. Okay, so what we can do with this is now we can analyze this data. So we can say that out of the three girls, it's very close, but Mary is the best shooter, and Louise needs to work on her shooting. But Louise is actually the fastest, and Mary is a little bit slow here. But Mary's great advantage is that she is an excellent shooter. Okay, and that is the area that Coach Kelly has decided to be the most important. Okay, so he can use this data now to go back to Mary and say, well done, Mary, you're wonderful at passing, you're excellent at shooting, but we need to work on your training so that you can get a little bit faster. Louise, you're excellently fast, which is really important when you're playing wing attack. But I think you need to look around. You need to improve your passing a little bit, and that's what we're going to work on in training. And then they can say, Sarah and Louise, you're excellent shooters. You're doing really well, but Mary is really leading the way here with the shooting. So if you want to get her place in the team, you need to improve on the shooting. So the question is, who gets picked? Who actually gets to start as a wing attack? Well, what you can do is you can very simply just add up these scores to give you an overall idea of who has the best overall score. So I can create a new matrix here, and I can put in 35 plus 12 plus 60, so that's 95, now 100 and a 7, I think, yes. We got 30, 60, 90 and 24, that is 114. Okay, so far Louise is getting the place, and then we've got 40, 90 and 3, that is 100, and correct me if I'm wrong, 133. Is that correct? Yes, I think it is. Yeah, 133. So in this case, Mary is going to get the place on the team. Despite needing to work on her speed, her shooting is outstanding, and for that reason, she is going to get picked. Okay, so as you can see, you can use matrices to objectively pick players for your team, or to give feedback back to players about what areas they need to work on. Now, obviously, this is a very, very basic example, but you could see with a lot of imagination and a little bit of work, you know, you could transform and take this idea and actually use it to help out your coaches in your school, or help out your coaches in your teams outside of school, in your clubs, to objectively pick a player. And you could even say that, okay, here is my objective numbers. Okay, these are numbers that you can't tamper with. The numbers don't lie, and we're going to give that a weighting of 50%. Plus, we're also going to give a coach's gut feeling and their subjective opinion 50%. Okay, and then they're going to take all of this data and they're going to add it together and say, well, do you know what? That's what the numbers say, but I actually think against the team that we're playing against, who are really, really fast, for this game, I'm actually going to pick Louise. And if we're a little bit behind, I'm going to bring Mary on because she's an excellent shooter. She might be able to get us a few goals late on in the game. Okay? Or maybe you look at Sarah and you see, well, she's a good shooter, she's quite fast, and she's an excellent passer. She gives us the best option across the board because she's got, good numbers all round. But as you can see, this is data being analysed using matrices, and you can see how it could help a coach to pick the proper team and to get the best success for their team. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, girls. I really want to hear your ideas about this, because this is just a starting point. Once you know the maths, once you know how the maths works, you can really take this on and do anything you want with it. Okay, I can't wait to see what you come back with.